All right, we're live. Welcome to the Why Dad podcast. We are your hosts, Paul Wandry and Andrew Stopelstead, and we have another great guest lined up for today's episode, David Schatzkamer, who is a serial entrepreneur and licensed play therapist who blends business savvy with psychological insight to build people up and create growth-driven spaces. He's passionate about helping others provide for their families with dignity and unlock their full potential. Welcome to the show, David.
Thanks so much, guys. Pleasure to be here.
We're excited to have you, Dave.
I think the one thing we all have in common is we're dads or want to be dads and that kind of idea.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons we started this show is to really, it was if we help no other individuals than ourselves about figuring out what it means to be a dad, then it's still a success. So thank you for coming on and helping us along the journey, and hopefully our listeners I'm sure they will get a lot of value out of this too. Play therapy, before we just dive in, can you tell us a little bit more about that for those who may not be familiar with it?
Sure. You can go to a therapist and tell him how you feel. And he'll probably understand you. But imagine a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old. You're not going to plop him down and tell him, okay, tell me how you feel. Kids communicate much differently than adults. They're much more perceptive. They're much more expressive through play, through toys. It's normal for them to do that. I remember one time a parent came to me and she had a 5-year-old and she told her 5-year-old, okay, so Max, tell David how you feel. I said, Ma, it's not gonna happen this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Even just as a dad, and Andrew, I'm sure, as an uncle, you've seen this too. I can relate with that when I'm trying to ask Abby, hey, what'd you do today at daycare or anything? And if it's a one-on-one conversation, she's going to be distracted. But if we're driving in the car or if we're playing with dolls or whatever, then she opens up and much easier to.
But it's like we're coming from a logic perspective, and kids are coming from a different perspective. We're not even communicating the right wavelength. Like, you're thinking one, and they're thinking totally different. They're telling you something, but they really mean something else, and you're like, what does that mean? It kind of like, I feel like sometimes I'm the interpreter. Between the kid and the parent play, and like, what's exactly going on? I remember just recently I was walking on the street, and those white lines, those crosswalk. So most kids like to jump over it, type of thing. So I think there was like a 3-year-old or 2-year-old that was wanting to do it. In the middle of the street, there was a car coming, and he was like fetching, but the mother didn't really get that he wanted to like. I'm like thinking, just let him jump over. Like the car will wait. She didn't really know what was going on. Like, why is he making a fuss for it?
Yeah.
For me, when it comes to play, it's like I get that language. Like I know what the play would mean. Like what's going on, what the kid really is saying, and that's something that I try to help parents navigate or really understand. What exactly is my kid doing, saying, or what's. Sometimes they can come up at night when they put him to bed. They'll come up to bed and say, "I'm hungry," or "I have a question to ask you." They're not hungry. They have a question to ask you. They just want you to keep them company. But they figure they have to do something because to figure out what you're going to understand that they're going to say.
That's really interesting. Like you just said, like it's something that we don't comprehend and they don't comprehend.
Because you're an adult and you have a certain way of thinking and logic, and it's fine. But for me, it's more natural. I just pick up in a much more easier in terms of what exactly the kids is trying to say. Now, I'm not perfect. People names. But most part, like most likely is like, there's a lot more to when the kid expresses something than actually meets the eye. Not necessarily is likely what's going on, what he or she is seeing.
Yeah. That's a really great point. And I feel like that's especially poignant when the kid is having a very emotional moment. And there's often, it's because a need is being unmet. And it's hard for us as the parents, like, and we're dealing with our own emotions to maybe see through that. So, and you say that you're an interpreter. So like, how can parents learn to, or what can the parents do to kind of like see past the surface level language and body language and get a better sense for what their true need is or what they're trying to say?
I think one way to do it, not not react, but respond to your kids. Don't assume anything.
Yeah, don't react and so respond. So can you give me an example of what that would look like?
Like a simple example, your kid comes out. Your kid comes out at night, and she or he comes out. Well, no, I'm hungry. And you're like, and you say, but you just ate supper, and like you had a whole bunch of things. What do you mean you're hungry? And you're reacting to that question.
Mhm.
You think about it as a relationship, like he really wants, like it's a relationship between you and him, or her and you. He's probably asking, I just want you to spend time with me, type of thing. So instead, you could say, it seems like you really hungry, but it seems like maybe you want to spend some time with me. You want me to sit with you. Like that may not be to me at all. Or they said, I have a question to ask you. Okay, but like you asked me 5 questions before. I'm enough with the questions, but you're reacting to me like, okay, you have enough questions. Tell me tomorrow the questions. If you realize that it has nothing to do with questions, they're just doing these so to get you more, to get you more,
Mhm.
to spend more time with you, type of thing.
So yeah, so they're craving that connection. So in that moment, like for example, in this example, because I'm sure anybody who's a parent or will be a parent will experience this. Do you how do you balance addressing their need of connection with the moment of, okay, hey, now's the time where we sleep and we need sleep. So what would your recommendation be for that?
I would first validate. I mean, I know you want to come out. I know you want to spend more time with me. I could sit with you for 5 more minutes, and then you have to stay in your bed and go to sleep. Then tomorrow morning I could come to your bed in the morning. It's important to set healthy boundaries, but at the same time acknowledge that they want that feeling, and by you being validating, that gives them a little bit of a, okay, you get me, I understand. We're on the same page here, and you're not going to leave me hanging.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think like that balance between boundaries and validation is
Mhm. It's
is
it's
like,
one of the hardest things,
yeah.
How
But
is
go
oh,
ahead,
sorry,
Andrew.
Paul. Well, I was just gonna ask, like you mentioned, if we have to set those healthy boundaries, I mean, it goes both ways. But how, like, besides after the validations, and you mentioned like we'll spend some time, and then tomorrow I'll be there. Like, how else is an effective way to communicate? Like, you and I both need to set a boundary between us at these certain times. Like, you can't come up in the middle of the night. Like, how do you communicate that?
Well, maybe you could say to them, like, it seems like maybe you're scared to be alone at night, or whatever it is. Maybe we could find something you can do while you're in your room alone. Maybe you could listen to music. You have a book to read. You have a lamp you could turn on. Like things to work with them, so they don't feel the need like I have to come out. But at the same time, they understand you get them.
Right.
To help them together, figuring it out together.
Yeah. Not to be a dead horse, but this with this example, and I think this stuff can be applied to many other scenarios, but we definitely ran into that with Abby. She's our oldest, and she over time we realized that, oh, like she just wants more time with us, and it was just go 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 go, and then it was like, okay, all of a sudden time for bed, and there was
Right.
no time to decompress, no time to just have good old roughhousing or cuddling or whatever. And so once we realized that, I think there was a stretch where we would let her watch TV right before bed. And we're not having much connection watching Miss Rachel or anything. So once we like stopped doing that and started playing together, along with setting the boundaries of, okay, hey, it's going to be time to brush your teeth and put on your pajamas, and then we'll read the books. Those things in combination, it really by no means perfect. Every night is a new rodeo, but like throwing in that extra connection really made a difference.
Because the more you connected, the more likely they'll listen. They'll follow through. Because the know you get them, you understand them. It's
Yeah.
more of a deeper bond.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot, and I mentioned on other episodes, but I don't know if you've had time to listen or read into my bio. But I have 5 nieces and nephews that live with them, and probably over the last 3 weeks, just been reading about like how important like actually engaging in physical play, like whether it be toys or games or something, like how that is a much more effective means of communication and trust building, and like you were just talking about too, set it like the way, like a primary way to communicate, because especially with the younger ones, like the older ones, you can have a little bit more of a rational conversation and explain it, but the younger ones, like with Paul's case, like right before bed especially, like when you're doing those things together, I've noticed a lot, like an uptick in acceptance of like when bedtime is, or when it's time to move on to the next activity, or it's okay, we're time to clean up the blocks now, so we're gonna do that together. So
And yeah,
yeah,
and bedtime doesn't mean with your phone also. That people want.
like all this kind of leads into a big question I've been wanting, like I had written down for the last couple of weeks when I heard you're coming on, but just how us as adults, especially with how busy our lives are getting and the advancements in technologies and everything, where do we start, like, to make this happen? Like, how do we jump into, like, start if this is something totally new, or we're not good at it, or we're trying to build that connection with our children?
I would say 15 minutes once a week. Play without any distraction. Just whatever it is, but nothing like a board game. Nothing that's. I'm talking because I work with young kids like you did, but like blocks, men, cars, dolls, food. Just if you could do 15 minutes, 30 minutes a week, schedule it in your calendar so your kid knows. Okay, Tuesday at 5 o'clock we're playing with dad. That's a really really good start. Way to go.
Okay.
And you'll be ahead in the game. Much so that I'll tell you what, if you're doing it 1 week, 2 weeks, and then your kid's gonna start asking you, okay, I want to just remember, don't forget this type of thing. Don't forget our time thing. Don't forget.
Yeah. I like that idea of having it set in stone, because with how busy lives are, like I like to think that we get enough time to play together, but as I'm thinking, it's like snippets here and there. So is it actually 10 to 15 minutes of unadulterated time? Yeah.
Just like we scheduled this call now at 5:30. There's nothing else going on. I'm not taking calls. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not applying to anything else. I'm not checking my email. You could do the same with your kid for 15, 20 minutes, a half an hour.
Right.
Schedule them just like you're doing a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea.
And even
And
if you tell me, some parents say, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to play. I don't know what to play. Don't focus on what you have to do or how to do it. Just show up.
Right.
Just be there. Just be fully present. Let alone is worth a lot of money.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Doesn't
the
change. Yeah.
go ahead.
The kid doesn't care if you know how to play. Like, he just wants you there. She wants.
Yeah, half the time, at least if they're anything like Abby, they're telling you how to play. Like, you do this, you do that. You're the kid, you're the whatever. So they'll take the
She's
rope.
making you how it feels when you tell her to do things. That's exactly what's going on there.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, how many times like kids get told to do things during?
Yeah. The whole lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just trying to figure life out. It's like they're their own independent selves, and they're all of a sudden in a life where there's so many rules that they have to figure out and abide by. If we had to be told to do so many things throughout the day, we'd be chafing at the bit. Yeah. So we talked a bit about play and how that helps kind of bring down the kids' barriers. And I had kind of a related question to play. Andrew, you and I were actually texting about this last week, is imagination, because imagination is at the core of play. I'm curious what your thoughts are on, like, is there a boundary between imagination and pretend and honesty and being like forthright? So for example, we were in Utah visiting family last week, and it was a pretty fun idea. It's like saying, hey, like, there are dragons that live in the mountains here. And Evie got really excited. And then it turned into a whole week of fun. Like, when we went on a hike, she was looking for dragon signs. She was asking other hikers, have you seen any dragons? And they would play along. one of her other aunts drew like a little fun dragon compendium, and she just got a kick out of it. But is there, I guess my question for you, because then I like ended up feeling a little guilty, is okay, but there aren't actually dragons in these mountains, and I know that for sure, but is that worth taking away the magic of believing that there are dragons?
I would let her go with it. Just be more curious. What about it? What about it? You really seem to like about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds very like mystery. It sounds like cool stuff. You like this kind of thing. Yeah, because it's not gonna hurt anybody. If you tell there's no mountains, you're like, what's the point of that? Let her imagine, let her dream, let her think about things. You never know. She's having fun too. And it's relationships, other people getting involved.
Yeah.
That's maybe because that's fueling that imagination even more because other people are involved. Other people are telling her about it. She communicates now. Other people are drawing things. It's a nice feeling to imagine things because then I have everybody else part of my world who I want to connect with and talk with and relate with, and I could.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a fair point because like we were even connecting with strangers on the hike, whereas otherwise we'd probably just do the typical head nod or if that. So that's a really great point. So the connection that is generated by that outweighs the eventual, oh, okay, now I know that dragons are real, but that makes sense. Going back to Andrew's kind of topic about like our high speed life, and then it was highlighted in your example on the crosswalk where we as adults impose this sort of time pressure, like whether it's a car approaching or our schedules, which like, okay, we got to get out of the door, but is it a life or death situation? Probably not. What are your recommendations for parents to like slow down and both for themselves and for their kids' sake?
Don't focus on reacting. Really. Like you just gotta, I guess, more be able to listen more. You need to feel what exactly is going on. Like take a moment and not force yourself to be intentional. Okay, I'm going to just listen. I'm going to like just hear it out without any expectation. Obviously, if you're in a meeting and you have everything else you gotta do, you could tell your kid, okay, listen, I would love to listen to you, and I want to play with you and have so much fun. I'm in a meeting now, so I can't do it now, but at 6 o'clock I could do it with you. That's a whole other. It's a whole world. Okay, you heard her. She understands. She gets it, and you're gonna do it later at 6 o'clock. Okay, and that's a normal type of, I think, a better response. And just, I'm busy now. I can't talk. I'll play with you later. Whatever. You're not even listening to her. Take 30 seconds. 30 seconds it costs you.
Yeah. Because then they feel heard, and then and they feel, when they feel heard, they feel like somebody's worth being heard.
And you time them, you're gonna spend time with them, but it's the clock or whatever time it is.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing like through a big theme so far is the importance of validation towards things.
Sure.
In these different ways of saying it, instead of, like you said, don't react, just let them know what's going on, that you've heard them. Like how big, it's something I've rarely even thought of till today or even a couple weeks ago. Just like validating, okay, do you want my time? That's very good. It's not wrong to want uncle's time or dad's time because you should. But I had a great point where I wanted to steer this to, and now I'm losing it. Sorry. But I guess I'll steer to this point. Like, at what stages in like adolescence do you move from that into the more rational? Can you move more into rational discussion about that to where you're both speaking that same language?
I'm not an expert on adolescence. My kids are adolescents now. That's definitely a challenge. You could have rational discussions. I'll just give you an example. What about you could be playful and still be rational? I'll just give you an example. I could be very playful to my kids, and they're older, and for my daughter it could be annoying. And I realized it was getting annoying because I wasn't really following the cues because I'm just in that play state for a lot of time, and that could be very annoying. So I told her, listen, one time I told her, let's make up like a code word when we know that I'm going too far and you're going too far. We made the word applesauce. We made a code word. So every time I'm pushy, whatever, she would say applesauce. Okay, no, I mean now we create our own language to communicate and we both understand that's meaning for specific extent that we want to mean.
That's really
And it's very helpful.
I can.
And playful at the same time.
Yeah. And I imagine that there's probably some like psychology behind that too, because if you're like, stop that or no, or some sort of negative language that if I'm not incorrect here, like that kind of triggers some of the fight or flight.
Yeah.
As
So you make a code word and it's like playful and it means whatever we decide what it means and we're all on the same page and it's playful and it's okay, like we back off. Okay, we stopped.
Yeah. And if it's something silly like applesauce or
Yeah, you make up your own words.
then it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. What are some other practical ways like that parents can bring play into maybe the tedium of daily life?
And to also to figure out what kind of age range you're talking about too. Teenagers are a little bit difficult because they're already older or whatever, so it's a little bit different in terms of what you can do. But I'm saying I'm a big fan of physical stuff too. Like when they're younger, throwing them a pillow or bopping them on the head or running after them type of thing or them, whatever. All those things are very good to do. Like one of my clients, the kid didn't want to go to bed. He was laying on the floor. He didn't want to get out. I think he was 9 maybe at the time, or 10, maybe 9, whatever. So the mother decided, you know what? We're going to get other people involved with the family. We said, we're going to bring the king to the palace. Pick them up and brought him to this palace bed. He had fun. He went there and went to bed very nicely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sometimes it's about just finding a way to engage them and like what that's creating that connection.
I think if you people can ask, you can always ask like questions of what to do with this is if your underlining thought and underlining foundation you're focused on is being playful, being reflective, being present in a relationship, then hopefully you're able to come up with your own ideas. Like you can call me 24 hours. People can call me all day for idea what I do with this, what I do with that. And I can come up with lots of stuff. But I'm saying for you to be able to do it on your own, if you have that mindset, okay, I'm going to be playful, I'm going to try to understand, and the relationship-based type of thing, then you're more likely to succeed in whatever you're going to try to come up with yourself.
Yeah, true. So I have a question along the lines of okay, so we're coming up with a playful way to get them to go to bed or what have you. What would you say to the parents who are maybe a little bit more focused on discipline or respect, and they're like, okay, like it's time for bed, so you should do what I say, or something along those lines, or like if we're re-engaging them that maybe we're being a little too soft on them or something along those lines. Do you have anything?
You can do that. The kids are going to listen because they're scared of you, but in the long run, you're going to lose a lot of respect from your kids, trust. You're going to have probably much more difficult teenagers than if you didn't have that. It's like when a kid says to a parent, I don't know, you're stupid or something, right? And the parent would say, broke me like that, find respectful, and your father or whatever. You can figure out what you would come up with. I would really try to hold that when the kid says you're stupid or something, hold that in a way. And what exactly is the kid feeling? Right. You, Andrew, you're upset because I told you can't go outside. You know, you're upset at me because I told you no. If you keep going and you really wanted to go outside and play with your friends, right? Now you can hold that thought that he said stupid later on. When he's calmer, said, I know when you go to him later on, I would say, I know before you're really upset, I didn't let you go outside with your friend that you really wanted to go, and you called me stupid, but stupid is not a nice name to say. It's not nice, not respectful, and do it when he's calmed down. He's not more or less. So you come to him later on, tell him like this. So next time you're upset at me, you just tell me, I'm really upset at you, I'm angry at you. And that way, like, I understand you, like, I agree, we're on the same page. I'm saying stupid. It's not saying stupid because he doesn't love you. It doesn't respect you. It's just that's what comes up, and that's what people say when they're angry.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of hold that thought later, when he's calm or she's calm, you can go back, listen, no, you were upset before, whatever, but calling me stupid is not respect. I don't like it. You can say, I'm angry, I'm upset. Because you are. And you're teaching them how to verbalize and communicate in a respectful manner. So yeah, you're role modeling that,
Yeah.
That resonates with me a lot. Just 3 of my nieces and nephews are 12 to 9, and then the younger 2 boys are 7 and 5. And so it is very easy as an uncle to, when they talk back or don't want to listen, to just have that reactive moment. And I noticed, especially Paul, you're a good example of that, just waiting for the situation to die down, simmer down, and then revisiting the topic with Evie, like
Sometimes.
from the interaction I've had with you. But it's just, that's something that just really resonates with me, because it's something I personally need to work on a lot, because I'm a very reactive person. And knowing now the full extent, like, sure, like you said, maybe there's not an immediate effect, but the long-term effect far outweighs, is counterproductive towards what you're trying to accomplish in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so easy to take it personal in those moments.
You can't, you get caught up because we're reacting, because you call me, but really, the kid's probably not calling you stupid because he doesn't like you, doesn't love you, doesn't care, but doesn't respect you. It's just, we've maybe you call people stupid when you're upset, so you use that same thing, or he gets upset. I'm upset, so people use this word when I'm upset, and they use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you tell them that moment that you couldn't use it or it's respectful, you're not really listening to him. You're not really getting anywhere. It's going to happen again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A great phrase that I've heard that kind of like encapsulates that is, I think this might be Dr. Becky at Good Inside, but one of her mantras is, your kid isn't giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time.
Yeah.
They don't have the skills to, like you said, like they don't know how to deal with that situation. They haven't built those skills yet. So that's our job, is to teach them those skills.
Mm-hmm.
And by role modeling that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest teach.
Just taking it personally and modeling that for them, which brings me to another common theme, like that I've found as being a parent, is most of parenting for me is actually learning how to work through my own garbage, my own habit, like my habit of reacting, my habit of whatever the case may be. What would you say? What are some tips to parents who are like, they want to model for their kids the right way of doing things, but they find themselves in the moment just reacting every time?
So 2 things. One, you could always go back later.
Mm-hmm.
Always go back later. Even now that going back later might be more beneficial than if you had responded the way you could have responded when you were in that moment. It's very powerful when you go back afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, you're modeling for your kid also if you made a mistake or whatever you acted or whatever maybe that is. To go back and then have that conversation, very good.
Yeah.
That was a big one. Also, if you need time, if you need space, just like I can't deal with it now. I need to go into a room. I need to have a 10-minute break. You can't. I don't want to react. I don't want to say something I want to regret, type of thing. And just go and take a 5-minute break, 10-minute break, go for a walk. Like I need to breathe or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are great points. So repair the rupture and then remove yourself if you need to. So the first point makes me think of, I forget the term for this, but I think this might be a practice done in China, or previously it was done in China, but you like, when a vase is broken, they use gold to fill in the cracks and to seal it back together. And the bond that is created when they're fixing the vase is stronger than it was before. And it's arguably more appealing, more beautiful because of the gold. And so that I think is a good analogy of the rupture, repairing the rupture. Like you said, it's stronger, it's better even.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And then taking time, yeah, it's like you're recognizing you don't have the skills in the moment to
Yeah,
respond.
when you normally going through stuff, life is not easy. Family, bills, work, God
Right.
knows what, emergencies, pipe burst, God knows what happens. Huh?
Mhm.
We're all human beings, we make mistakes, we say things wrong. I'm saying it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
then so by stepping away, you're modeling, you're doing exactly that. It's, hey, I can't handle this right now. That's not a you problem. That's a me problem. But you're modeling that. I love that.
This is a kind of a personal question, but it plays into your role as a play therapist. Just for some background, my nieces and nephews have gone through a hard luck last couple years just because of familial situations. That's part of the reason why they're living with me full time. But what are things to like look out for when we're playing with to try to understand what they're trying to communicate through that play?
not to get too professional in,
Mm-hmm.
but if there's anything that's repetitious over and over again, the play is over and over again happening, the same type of play happening over and over again,
Yep.
and there's something that's very meaningful about that play.
Okay.
Whether it's for the house, or it's men, whether it's being control, or it's avoiding situations,
Mm-hmm.
always keeps happening over and over again within that play, then that's very meaningful to them.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And not only do you have to figure out and what does that mean, and you can only just be there,
Right.
which is big itself in itself. You have to figure out, okay, how do I do this? What's the thing I'm doing? Sometimes you don't know. It's fine.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, I think that's a very good insight because one, it's not always our job to, at least my job as an uncle, to figure these things out or not. But like you said, the fact that something repetitive is something meaningful, and me being able to partake in that builds onto that. That I'm there with them through whatever they're going through, working.
Yeah. 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 And the fact that they're showing you that and playing with you that,
Mm-hmm.
that's telling them they're inviting you into their world.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
So we've had a couple of recurrent themes. Like there's connection, there's validation, there's responding, not reacting. In your work with families and with kids, is it one of those things that you think is the number one, quote unquote, number one pain point? Or would you recommend, is there anything else that we're missing here that if you would ask parents to focus on one thing, like what would that be?
Your relationship is the number one thing.
Yeah. When that becomes a focus, that kind of like changes parenting. Like it's no longer like making making sure your kids follow a schedule, or even, yes, we have to help them prepare for life and whatnot, but it's not checking the boxes.
Mhm.
It's
It's more like choreographic dance, I like to call it. We go this way, I go that way. I go this way, you follow me. It's more like a balance of, okay,
Yeah.
let's do this.
a dance, not a match in the boxing ring.
Someone's gonna lose, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it, a dance. And when with that connection, there will be so many benefits, I can imagine. Like they'll feel confident in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They'll
Especially from a father to a daughter.
Mm.
I think it's much more untapped appreciation for fathers and daughters.
Mm-hmm.
That certain type of feeling of security, safety, confidence, self-esteem. You don't have to teach it.
Right.
Like, it's just, you can have that effect.
Which just flows between.
My daughter to a father, yeah. And most father, like, dad, man, like, So daughter, I'm not gonna pay too much attention. She wants her mother type of thing, but people are. I think it's whatever, unfortunate.
Yeah. So what are like that got my ears perking up with my eldest being a daughter. What are some ways that dads can foment that relationship with their daughters? And they can be at any age.
Yeah, you could play, you go out for supper, you can go to the park, you could play, you could just talk about things, you could joke, just be involved in their life.
Mhm.
Whatever it may be. Don't be too overburdened, you know? Like you gotta you very much, you gotta figure out things, you gotta check box this, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. You gotta do well in school, otherwise you're not gonna succeed. Like you don't need to do that. Just makes kids much more anxious, much more self-doubt.
Mhm.
If you just be more like flow, I guess, from fault.
Yeah. And that stuff will come if you're
Yeah.
if you're focusing on a
Mm.
relationship and building them up that way. Yeah. I mean, this is some excellent stuff. I really appreciate it, David. Definitely gave me a lot of food for thought. And Andrew, is there anything else that you wanted to pick David's brain on?
I was just thinking about what we were just talking about, especially the fathers and daughters. And even in my personal experience, maybe it's just because our family situation, but like my nieces are 12 and 10, 9, 10. And like building that kind of relationship with them. What you said, David, just spending the time. Paul, this is something maybe, I don't know if I ever shared with you, but like date nights or lunch dates or things like that.
Yeah.
And my nieces they'll get all dressed up in a dress and put on their makeup sets and whatnot. And we'll only go to a cafe or something, but we'll treat it like I would a date. It's just the two of us or the three of us, and we're just there to spend time with each other and no one else and get to know each other.
When they dress up, when they go through this, something you can say, this is really important to you. You can really have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's again, it's like seeing that underlying need or communicate that language. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. David, this has been a great one. Very informative, very thought provoking. Oh, if people want to get a hold of you or find you, where can they do that?
They can go me on LinkedIn, David Schatzkamer. They can go to my website, center, the number 4, playtherapy.com. And that's the best ways to reach me.
Excellent. And we'll be sure to drop those in the show notes. But yeah, this has been another episode of Why Dad, and this was a great one where we talked about connection a lot. Yeah, we talked about how everybody likes to play, right? How we can incorporate that into parenting. And so I encourage our listeners to actually David, if you want to ask one thing of our listeners, what would that be?
One thing to ask the listeners,
Yeah, to do.
schedule 15 minutes a week of play, unstructured play.
I love that. I love that callback. And I'm going to be sure to do that because once it's in the calendar, it will happen. If it's not, it's probably not going to happen. So I love it. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, David, and thank you, Andrew.
Thanks.
And until next time.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. Thank you, Paul, and thank you all.